I want to just for a second maybe have a little bit of fun. Let me paint the setting of, magic mushrooms and psychedelics are legal or even decriminalized, whatever word we want to go with. What do you think, then let's say this is 10 years from now, it's decriminalized. I'm painting the picture. I'm painting the picture. What do you think could potentially be, business use cases, obviously talking about creativity. Could you foresee it becoming potentially, hey, I'm in a job that, I would love to add a little bit of creativity to. I got to make this PowerPoint even. I got to do this, you name it. Could you foresee maybe, potentially the industry getting to that point?
I do, and absolutely I do. I mean, let's be brutally honest. I mean, it occurs anyway as it stands today. I mean, I know many people around the world that I speak with that do engage and use either magic mushrooms or many other substances that are technically illegal at the moment, but they do use them, and they say that it helps them tremendously. So as we decriminalize. And as these things become legal, no doubt there will be this creative business use case for psilocybin where people will no doubt start trying it. I mean, look at the cannabis space now. One of the biggest growing sectors, if not one of the bigger consuming sectors, is the elderly. When I say elderly, the age group being 60 plus, 50, I think it's like 58 plus. Like, who would have thought that all of a sudden you had this whole 60-year-old group of people that are doing recreational cannabis? It's like, but when you think about it, they're maybe going back to their roots in the 60s and 70s and going, wow, now this stuff is legal, let's kick back and smoke a joint. I mean, it is what it is. But there are tremendous use cases, of course, with cannabis as well, as it relates to nausea, cancer research and all that, or not cancer research, but dealing with nausea and all those things that with cancer. So you never know. I do believe you're saying look forward 10 years. That will happen. There is no doubt about it. There will be a big market like that. I'm not sure, kind of how it will be sold in the future. And maybe it is much like the cannabis dispensary of today. You'll need some kind of a method like that where you would go and maybe they'll be attached. Maybe there's the cannabis dispensary that's also the magic mushroom dispensary. You go and you pick up your gram of marijuana and you pick up your gram of mushrooms at the same time. I don't know yet, but probably.
Interesting. You touched on a good part, and you kind of linking, obviously cannabis and psychedelics together. Cannabis paved a massive way for a lot of things to come in a lot of people's eyes. Obviously cannabis to a lot of people is the lowest hanging fruit. Do you think that, really some people say on one end psychedelics will never be legal, recreationally. On the other side, people say, well, cannabis just paved a huge way forward where there's other things out there that, if controlled, can be beneficial. What's kind of your take on kind of the mindset of, cannabis paving the way forward? Obviously, you would think it's good for psychedelics, but what's kind of your take? And do you ever think kind of psychedelics will be recreationally available?
Absolutely. I mean, I'll say strongly that there is no doubt this is going to follow the same path as cannabis. No doubt. It will take time. I think that the regulators have learned a good lesson about, how to bring cannabis to the market, where they made mistakes, and then apply those learnings to the psychedelic industry so that it's not just a free for all, that there will have to be great rules and regulations in place so it's as clear as a bell for those that are involved in the industry. How do we bring psychedelics to the marketplace? What are, again, the rules and regulations? How are we allowed to sell it? What is the proper dosage? And that is a huge one. The amount of mushrooms that one may take, it's a big issue, and dosing is just so important, and knowing correct dosing. You having too much, you can get extremely ill, and I mean extremely ill. So I firmly believe, Jason, that we are going to head down that path. It will be similar to the cannabis industry, and that eventually, I'm not sure if it's next year, the year after, or may take 5 years, but in the coming years, we will have something similar, whereby the cannabis dispensary will be dispensing psychedelic medicines as well.